I remember I was heavy, like, "Imma do this, Imma make gods, Imma be
Beginning
like
of
Dave, what do you
expansion,
like?"
right?
Right, right, and then, like, once I catch up on everything, I'm like, I'm looking for something to do, but I'm not entertained, and since I'm not entertained, like, I have not unsubbed Final Fantasy. I log in and maintain my house consistently.
Just to
But,
make sure
like,
it don't get
like, what's
destroyed.
just yeah, oh, yeah, I'm always the one, auto demolition canceled. That's me. I'm
Mhm.
that player where it's like, "You're not getting my house because in the old days, even currently, it's hard to get one. I think I spent, like, 3 days trying to stay up late trying to get the house during the big
I
server purge or whatever.
always
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always
I
tell the
think I was in
story.
your chat.
I was always
Yes,
tell the story of you coming in chat.
yes. Oh my
It's like,
being like,
"Hey,
yeah,
I'm gonna
it's
get a
like, "Wait, we gotta
house."
map out our ways?"
Yeah. I'm like,
I
"Dang,
didn't
good
understand how
luck.
it works.
Good luck, man." Welcome to another edition of Velvet Room Conversations. I'm your host and proprietor of the Velvet Room, Sly, aka Gray Fox. And joining us today for conversation, he is a content creator, Twitch streamer, Twitch ambassador, voiceover artist, college professor, Morehouse man, Morehouse grad, Pokemon fan. Most of all, he's my friend, ladies and gentlemen, DataDave. How you doing, Dave?
Yo, I'm doing great. What's going on, man?
What is going on, boss?
How you feeling?
I am feeling good. It's a Sunday afternoon. I know you're the Late Show.
Always,
I
man.
used to be the Late Show back in the days when I first started. I would go like from maybe about 10 p.m. to about 7 in the morning. And
Golly, oh, that was later than me.
yeah, I know. I grew old. I grew old. I grew old as shit. I couldn't do that
Man, I'm
anymore.
getting there.
You getting?
I used to be 6 to 2 AM. Now I'm like, fam, 7 to 12. Like, and it's like I used to do it every single day, and now I'm like, y'all get 5 days depending on the week, maybe 4. I'm like,
Oh
I need to rest.
man.
I got other stuff to do. I got work.
See, and we gonna talk about that because like I used to be like 7 days a week, and I'm like, my old ass can't do that anymore. Like y'all gotta give me a
I
day.
can't either.
Y'all gotta give me at least one day, and I usually take Wednesdays. Wednesdays are my days off now, and
Yeah.
it's like yeah, that's just my day to recoup, relax. If I got back end stuff to
Yes.
do back end stuff. Hell, I don't even hardly have time to even game outside of stream, and I want to try to like game outside of stream on my Wednesdays, but I can't.
Mhm.
Like, I just be too relaxed, and I
Just
just
wanna recoup
I
and
just
relax. I
I just
feel
want
that.
to like watch TV, watch some game shows and shit, and just
Hey,
chill.
man, I feel you. Now that's my Sundays and Mondays. I'm like, hey, I tell stream like if I'm really free, I'll stream Monday, but generally I'm like, don't expect me there.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna relax, catch up on work, maybe make a YouTube video. You know what I mean?
yeah.
But those relaxation days, I believe, even help a lot of times. You know what I mean? Like I catch up on shows and be like, oh, I got a new topic to bring back to y'all. You know?
Mm-hmm. But hey, man,
So
thank you
yeah.
again so much for joining us today. And as usual, I mean, I know you got your drink. It might be a little early for you, but it is never early for me. And I gotta always toast my guests. You know, got me a little Penelope right now.
Oh man, if I had me some wine, I would.
Mm,
But now we just got some flavored water.
that is all right.
Cool cup too.
Flavored water's always good. So, as usual with a lot of my guests, like again, they're pretty much all in the industry. So
Mhm.
I want to start with like where you started, where your content creation journey started. Like when did it start for you? How did it start?
Well, funny story about me, honestly. I really didn't even know what Twitch was at the time, other than Twitch plays Pokemon.
Uh-huh.
And I heard from one of the students, I was in graduate school going for a PhD at the time. I finished my master's. That's a whole other conversation. But I was teaching my students, and he was telling me about a game called Undertale, and like I've heard of streaming from him, and I'm like, that sounds cool. I don't really do nothing in grad school outside of schoolwork. But in my evenings, I just gamed. I was like, why not just try out streaming too? And then like I had a really, really bad laptop at the time. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? So I couldn't run like Overwatch or something that I usually play in the evening. So I was like, why not just stream like an indie game? I think my student told me about Undertale. I'll try it out.
Mhm.
So I did my first stream. I got one viewer, because I was so lost on where to go in the game, what choices, didn't know what to do. And they guided me basically each day I streamed through the game. And I was like, this was a great experience. And as I did that, more and more people came, and I was like, this is fun. Like, if I'm just gonna game in the evenings anyway, why don't I stream? It gives me more people to chat with and get to know. And then before you knew it, I was literally streaming every single day, even if it was just an hour or 2 hours. And as it grew, I got partnered in 6 months. I found my niche at that time, which was Monster Hunter, Pokemon,
Yep.
heavy Pokemon focus,
Oh yeah.
and I've just kept it going since then. Now, the wild part is the catchphrase "day to day with DataDave" came from the fact that I literally give you stream every day.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Modern day, it has changed because now I'm like, hey, let's try other platforms. Like, we need breaks. We need breaks. But now day to day with DataDave to me means I'm giving you some form of content every day. That means you can find it. You know, if I'm not streaming, there'll be a TikTok out there. If I'm not doing TikTok, you might see a YouTube podcast that I've done, you know?
Mhm.
So I decided to reshape that and stream the rest of the week. So yeah, you know, now I think I'm going on 7 years, which is
Oof.
wild, and I've done a lot of things since then.
Yeah, why did I think you were earlier than that? Because like this year's
Let
my
me see.
11th
Let's
year.
see. Let's see. It's 20. I mean, maybe my math is wrong. Yeah, it's about 7, 8 years. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think in
okay.
2016 is when I started.
Okay.
So yeah, it's 7 going on 8.
So yeah, you said you started when you were a professor. You still do
Oh, believe it or not, back then I was just a graduate school student, so I was a teaching assistant.
okay, you're a TA. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
You are do you still teach? Are you a professor now currently?
Oh yeah, I'm still a professor.
Okay.
I'm a professor in Atlanta still. So I've been teaching for about now my own class for about 3 years and being a research assistant too.
Good old Morehouse man right here.
Yes, indeed, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a North Carolina Central grad. So
Oh, nice.
I actually went to we had a game with Morehouse like years ago, and
Mhm,
this was around the time Clark was still a thing. And
mhm.
yeah, my dad and I we just took the car and just drove down to Atlanta for the Morehouse game, and like just hearing about y'all's traditions and everything,
Oh, we got
so many
so
traditions.
much.
Like like starting out as a freshman, I'm like, bro, I couldn't do it. I couldn't
Fam,
do
Imma be
it.
real. I got a mixed relationship with my school. I love my school,
Uh
but I acknowledge that they have and I'm not trying to sell it to you or anybody,
huh.
but the Morehouse mystique, you know, I think the phrase is like, you can tell a Morehouse man, but you can't tell him nothing. We got phrases. We got like, there's a lot behind it, but there's just a lot of pride in a good way for school. Like they're just
Right.
really proud of what they do and produce.
Right.
And you know, it's good.
Yeah, and
But
I
yeah,
feel
like
like every school has that pride, especially HBCUs.
exactly.
HBC,
Especially,
yeah,
yes.
especially HBCUs
Especially.
more than anything. Um, like what are we? We are the rolling hills and verdant green of NCCU because like we're just on a slope. So as a freshman, I
Yeah.
lived in Chidley Hall, which was like on one of the ends of our because we were on like basically we took up an entire I guess not really just an entire plot like from four corners. That was basically our campus, and we're on one of the corner, and our Chidley Hall was like one of the corners. But to get to the calf, you had to walk
Mhm.
down a hill, walk up a hill, and there was the
Not
calf.
up a hill too.
Yeah, and then to get
Golly. I just had to go down.
class, like the we had stairs between like our gym where they play our basketball games in the stadium, ready to do football, and these were like 10 times the rocky stairs. So we had to like walk up them stairs and then still up a
Yeah.
hill and then maybe up a street to get to class. Like it was,
Yeah.
yeah,
That seemed like a lot, man. I was
yeah,
lucky. I was in one of the newer dorms around the time.
uh,
So like our most of my stuff just go all the way down the hill and
mhm,
just up any stairs and the uphill too. So it wasn't a huge campus, but that sounds rough.
yeah.
Well, hey, get your steps in, right?
Yeah, we did not have a freshman 15. We were walking everywhere. If you didn't take the bus, you were walking everywhere. There was no freshman 15 now. Nah, that ain't exist.
Good
Mm-mm.
deal.
So yeah, again, you started with Undertale. Um,
Yep.
and like you said, like a lot of people, we tend to start with not the best setup, uh because like
Oh
I
man.
had a
Yeah.
I used my work laptop, but I didn't like stream games on it. I mainly streamed from console, and I had to buy like the external Elgato. Um,
Hmm.
so you said when you started out, you were using just a laptop.
Man, I had a cheap laptop that was like, you know how like stuff when it starts coming apart a little bit?
Yeah.
It's like this is standard. Mine was kind of like
Oh
this, but
wow.
like I'm like, it still worked. So I was
Uh
like, I get it fixed. You know what I mean? I was a college student at the time or grad school student at the time, but I just had a like a $40 webcam and a $40 mic and was like, we gonna do something with it.
huh.
And that's it.
Now,
So yeah.
when did you feel like you were beginning to grow as a streamer?
I will say the shift for me is when I started to say, "Hey, I made not a lot of money, but
Mhm,
like I made a little bit of money for it, and any money I made from streaming, I'm like, let me get a piece of gear of something I like." And I'm still a big Nintendo head even to this day. I
mhm,
play Pokemon Unite a lot. So I was like, I would love to stream off I think it was a DS or no, I think it was a DS at that time,
mhm.
just Nintendo DS, Monster Hunter Generations. Those are one of the games I really wanted to get into. So I bought this expensive capture card to stream DS games and started playing Monster Hunter Generations.
Katsu Kitty?
Now, what's funny, yeah, the Katsu Kitty, you already
Yep.
know. But the thing is that was funny about it is like streaming that game, that's when I started to get more viewership. Like a lot of my long-term viewers, I've been sub since day one, came from me playing that game with them.
Yeah.
So around that time, I was actually getting traction. Like, wow, what do I do now? Like I'm making not much because we didn't even have the sub button back then. You know what I mean?
Right.
If you weren't partnered. So I was like, if someone donates, thank you, but oh, this is growing. Maybe I should push for Twitch partner one day. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And then once I got that idea, that's when the shift was like, hey, let's make sure I'm on a schedule. Let's try to grow. Let's say, hey, follow me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it was fun, but it was fun seeing the growth as well.
Mm.
So that's when I think the shift happened around that time.
Okay. And because I remember getting the Katsu Kitty too, and uh yeah, I was playing Jin on I was playing Jin on the Katsu Kitty too. I think mainly I think I mainly got it for SMT though. Yeah, that was that was the predominant reason I got it, was just to play all the 3DS SMT games. But I did end up playing Jin before it got over to Switch. Yeah, and
Great game, by the way, on Switch as well.
yeah. And my only problem with Switch is like it while the Switch is good, it's a good portable machine. It is a PowerPoint in terms of frames. So
Yeah. Remember
while,
Mortal
while
Kombat? The latest Mortal Kombat was bad on that game. It looked like, fam, no, 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 no.
Mm.
That's not Scorpion. That's Snake. I don't know. But it's just like whatever the off brand is, that's what the game looked like to me. That's not Sub-Zero, that's Mr. Freeze.
Oh
Oh,
man.
man.
So what I mainly knew you for, and when I was introduced to you, when I found you, I mainly knew you for Pokemon. You were
Mhm.
really big into Pokemon, and like that I felt like that was I don't want to like pigeonhole you, but I felt like that was your niche. Like
Imma be honest.
you ate in Pokemon
Yeah.
category.
Yeah, man. That's actually what I got partnered in around Pokemon
Hmm.
Sun and Moon. And I got really addicted to shiny hunting. That's just my thing. I made it fun and entertaining while I
Uh,
did it with other people. And like my thing is, and like no shading all the shiny hunt at all. It's changed a bit over the past couple games where it's not as fun. And then I was
mhm,
like, all right, we're pivoting to something else. So honestly, that's been over just honestly the past, we'll say year or two almost. Like, so I did do Pokemon heavily for like 5 years, whether it be mostly shiny hunting, battling, but the ultimate entertainment came from me talking while we're doing something we could
yeah,
do on repeat easily. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like if you're shiny hunting, it is so easy to just talk about everything under the sun for hours on end. So yeah, it was a good little niche. I still play Pokemon Unite because I'm addicted to League of Legends, and
Oh
that's
God, you
Pokemon
in the
MOBA.
salt mines,
You know,
man.
yeah. It's just I grew up with League. I love my little toxic game. It is toxic, but Pokemon Unite's a good middle ground between Pokemon franchise, which I really love, and League of Legends because I just love MOBAs. Anything
Mhm.
MOBA, I'll play. Like Gigantic's on right now. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So
Yeah, my mod's been
it's a
trying to
good
get me
mix for
back
me right
in.
now.
Yeah.
It's fun. I like it. Don't ever go away again.
I need to get back in. I know there's a trial, but I need to just get like break down and get the game so I can play again. Um
Definitely join.
so yeah, you started to grow mainly within the Pokemon category, and you said that you you know kind of took it a little bit more seriously. You started to set schedules and whatnot, and you wanted to push for partner, and we all had that push. Talk to me a little bit about your partner push and how your experience was.
It's interesting. So my thing is, I look back at it. At first, I'm like, cool, we got to really get to those viewer counts. And I acknowledge why some people say, "Oh, partner pushes are good, partner pushes are bad." You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like for me, I just kind of took the as y'all get to know me, you know me as well. I'm pretty chill. I'm like, "Yo, we might get partner. Let's keep going." You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
I didn't necessarily push, but I did mention like, "Hey, let's grow. If y'all like the content, let somebody know." And that's just kind of it. I figured it would just come over time. But I applied, I think, in my first 3 months of streaming, didn't get it in the next month, and then I got it in 6 months. You know, it just kinda naturally came. I
Yeah.
just figured, like, as long as I'm doing this and streaming and the numbers come up and down, like, eventually it'll hit, and after only 6 months of streaming, which is crazy to say it hit.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it was just, like, kinda those, like, "Hey, if y'all anybody that might like our vibe, like, let them know. Invite them to come game with us," you know? And that's the same, even now to this day.
Yeah. So you get partner, and
Mhm.
and like I remember getting partner. It was like a huge feeling. I went and got some alcohol, got chocolate wasted on stream, just did random shit. Um, um, what were the days after after getting partnered like? What were the days like? And then like when did you feel like the
Uh
honeymoon phase ended?
What's funny is after partnership, I would say those first, we'll say 2 to 3 months, like, "Oh, we got it." Like, I don't even know what emotes we gonna get. Like, I don't know anything of my branding. I mean, I guess it's Pokemon because, like,
Yeah.
that's what I was mostly doing. But I'll say after 3 months, it kinda winded down and said, "Hey, this is pretty cool. We're partnered, and yeah, this is just my pastime." So I'll say probably like after 3 months. It was like a celebration, and then now we're here because it took me to get artists and get everything organized. Maybe I should get some assets for my channel that are updated. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So in that hype, that's when I got a lot of stuff done and I just kind of settled into my groove.
Yeah, for me it was I think it lasted for about a month. I was like, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, I got partner finally. And you know how they say like the journey is the first 10,000 steps, and then you reach that plateau, and then you see another 20,000 steps. That's what partner
Yeah,
felt like for me. It's like it became a lot more work
yeah,
after
definitely.
partner. Yeah.
Because you want to go into more spaces and do more things afterwards, you know?
Hmm. So what
So
were some of
yeah.
the things you did first, like that felt like big to you, that felt like you were a business man?
I'm gonna be honest, I didn't truly feel like I was a business until after the first year of streaming.
Really?
And, like, that first year after partner, because
Yeah.
remember, when I got partnered, that's the first time I got the sub button,
Hmm.
and I got an influx of subs, and I'm like, "Wait, I'm actually making" like, after the first few months, I'm like, "Hey, I'm actually making a little bit of money from this."
Yeah.
Now what's funny about it is my parents, they didn't know much about Twitch at all, like, in general, they were just like, "Long as you get your schoolwork done." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm still got" I had a high GPA. I'm like, I would get my work done. What's ironic about it, it's a little tangent, but, my grades improved because I had less time, because I wanted to stream 8 hours a day. So it made me more of a I have to study in the morning, be here, go to the professor, get my work done because I don't want anything to touch my stream because I'm that invested. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I actually went from like just a 3 some student to a 4.0 because I was like, I have to. And I started drinking coffee. But you know what I mean? Let's be real. I started drinking coffee. I was like, fam, like, I want to stream 6 p.m. to 2 a.m., but I'm not going to do any work after 2 a.m. But I have a 9 a.m. class. Like, it made me
Oh,
such, you know
bruh.
what I mean? I got 9 a.m. class. I got to be awake. What's funny is what put me on coffee is I couldn't stay awake because I stayed up too late. Like, you know how some people sit in the front of the class
Yeah.
because you want to pay attention. Like, think of like a huge slope of like chairs and stuff.
Yep.
The
I know that
professor is
setup.
like, you see where I'm at? Here's the professor. There's the chair right in front of you. I would sit right there because I told him even before class, I was like, yo, I'm trying to stay up. I just do I call it a side business, and I'm usually sleepy. Can you wake me up if you're teaching? So he was really nice. Like he'll tap me like, hey David, you know what I mean, while I'm teaching his lectures. But that's when I got into coffee. But I could talk in tangents, so you might have to reel me back in. But when did I feel it was like a business? Okay, back on topic. Um, it felt after that first year, I was like, I have to file taxes on my streaming of what I've done, and I have no
Mhm.
idea what I'm doing. My parents were like, "How much you make?" They were like, "Wait, what?" You know, and that's when my parents started taking Twitch serious, and that's when I learned, hey, luckily I'm a natural saver anyway. I don't really buy expensive stuff for myself, but I was able to pay off taxes. But I'm like, oh, I got to keep this in mind. So that's when I felt like this is a business.
Mm.
I
And
can talk on tangent.
oh
That's why I was like,
no,
let me just
please, by all means. This is all about you, and
yeah,
I would love to hear about these tangents, man. Like,
yeah,
hey,
yeah.
just you and man. After freshman year, I never ever had a 9 a.m. class ever again, even in grad.
I had
Never,
to do it
never.
because
Mm-mm,
I was like, nothing is going to affect
mm-mm.
my streaming schedule. I couldn't take those 4 to 5s or I'd be late. So yeah, but ironically, and a lot of the skills from I'll say it's for anybody that went to grad school. Those that do well in grad school, you probably use either a planner, a Google Docs, something, because it's just like if you don't map it out, it's just too
That's me.
much.
That's me.
It's just too much. Like I have I wish it was near me. It's right here. Okay. So I have a digital notebook. It's called a Remarkable. When I
Mhm.
tell you, I use this for everything from checklists. I mean, I wrote down being here on time. You know what I mean? But I write down everything in it, even from voice acting auditions, you know,
Right.
writing those details and notes. But I'm that organized, but I learned that from grad school.
Yeah.
So it helps.
Yeah. Because I usually do my weekly schedule every Sunday night after I finish my stream on Sunday night. I do my weekly schedule.
Mhm.
I do a visual schedule that goes up on Twitter and in the about me on Twitch. I do a and it goes up on Discord too. And I do a Discord events because you can put everything as an event. So I put every stream, every
Yeah.
anime night,
Write that down.
yeah, every anime night
Write
as
that
an
down.
event. And so it just automatically goes up on Discord and like it says like so and so stream or after stream's done
Yeah.
so and so anime night, it automatically does it. And like it just reminds people it's not really, it's really not for me, it's mainly for the community, um because
I'm writing that down. It's cool.
it's
I was gonna say I didn't think about Discord events. I know it exists.
yeah, and it was like and somebody actually reminded me of it because they were like, hey Sly, can you do your schedule as events because I'm in
Yeah,
Ireland and it converts to our time. And I'm like, you know what, bet,
really.
yeah, it converts to the user's time. So
Discord event.
Discord events, yeah, they kind of, I wouldn't say forced it, but I do it just for them. So
Actually dope.
yeah, it is really dope. I like it. Um,
In the planner. Now I'm locked in. Okay.
I just talk like I
I'll say
feel
some of
so
them.
old. We just talking about planners and shit.
Exactly. I'm like, we went from we'll look at this up. I'm like, no, let me write that
Let me
down because
write
I will
that
forget.
exactly.
I will forget. So I'm like,
Now,
man.
when it comes to when it came to get you getting partnered and it becoming a business, I kind of feel like you being a TA at the time, like you said, it was kind of, it's kind of rough to balance at first. Like, how did you
Mhm.
and how did you ever get to like a good equilibrium where you weren't killing yourself as a streamer or you weren't killing yourself as a TA? Like, because like I felt, again, when I got partnered, I felt like I had to really work my ass off. but at the same time, I still
I
worked outside of it.
I'd say for me, on how I got that together,
Mhm.
it's might just be more of a, like, me thing, a personality thing, but, like, I'm just used to balancing even before I started streaming or in grad school, I'm just used to balancing multiple things at once.
Mhm.
Like, when I was in the undergrad, I was in, like, a leadership club, glee club, and I was a computer science student. So, like,
Mhm.
I'm just used to, hey, I have this, and that. And because I don't want to be looked at as a slacker in anything, I'm just gonna have to schedule it out. Like, I'm gonna have to prep for this early. So I'm just used to balancing multiple things, and at least doing, if not okay, like doing pretty well in each one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when it came to streaming, once I realized pretty early on how much of a time commitment it was, I just kind of had to like map out how can I get everything else done without, like you said, like overworking myself. Luckily through streaming and even to this day, even though it can feel like work on some days, depending on what you're doing, it didn't feel like work. It felt like this is my relaxation or this is my enjoyment, you
Right.
know? So even when I got partnered, the vibes were the same to be like, hey, I worked all day. I went to school. I studied. I got tests. How am I going to just relax? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what streaming was. So even post partnership, it's like, hey, this is my social outlet, like my community to chat with people. So it just wasn't work. I was like, hey, if y'all weren't here watching or if I wasn't live, I'd be doing the same thing. You know what I
Right.
mean? So that's why it was easy for me to do without feeling I'm overworking myself. Now, if my goals at that time were like, I need to get 1,000,000 subs or be super big, I'm like, no, I'm just vibing. If y'all like it, like, come chat with me. If not, I'm gonna keep getting these Pokemon. You know what I mean? So it was just like it was so chill to me. It's like, hey, we gonna play, but if everybody's quiet, I'm just gonna play music and find the shiny, you know?
Right.
So, that's I'm just relaxing, and feel free to invite yourself to combo or have combo with me or just hear me just ramble about what I was doing that day, you know? So I didn't feel like I had to push to ramp up. I felt it was like just keep doing what you do and just, if you're entertained, they may be entertained too.
Damn. I'm so glad you were here because I felt like I needed to hear that. Like a voice in the back of my. I felt like something in the back of my head needed to hear that because it's just like there have been so many years where I just would, like I said, 7 days a week, kill myself, like literally kill
Mhm.
myself, and it it wouldn't. It was mainly because like I felt like if I wasn't streaming or if I wasn't doing something, I would be letting my community down. Or
Right, it's like, "What are you doing?" Fam, we could do a whole topic on that, man,
oh
because
please,
I've been there. I
please,
mean, I'm like that. What's funny and, like, I've had combos with my friends and even stream mates being like, on stream, but in regards to that, like, we'll talk about it's funny that I told you I don't know if I told you, like, I
mhm,
did pivot away. Everybody knows me from Pokemon,
yeah,
not even the current one, but it's like the reasons I pivoted away is literally like the example you just put. So I loved Pokemon, but I acknowledge I think that someone in chat said it used to take some mad dedication. Nowadays, they just hand out the shinies. So back then, it felt like treasure hunting. I loved it. It was fun. But as later games came out, it honestly to me just got a little bit more boring. And I was like, what's my community? We're built through Pokemon and shiny hunting. So I'm like, at one point, it was short lived. I'll say like maybe a month, 2 months. I forced it. I was like, we gonna do it. I'm gonna find new music. We gonna make this fun, but I'm not really having fun shiny hunting, but I'm DataDave, the shiny hunter streamer. And then that's when it started to feel like work for me. Like, hey, all right, I'm gonna go live. I'm a shiny hunt. I'm gonna make it fun. Do this. But I didn't enjoy the method. But I was like, if I don't do this or if I don't do it as much, like you even said, I felt like I would be letting my community down or not be entertaining or not as big. And then for me, what made me be like, I'm gonna stop streaming Pokemon. I'm streaming something else because like just like I spiel I gave you, like I'm here, I would be doing this anyway. It became I'm here because I'm gonna get subs and viewerships and this growth. And like, I'm just like these are two different people. Same day, but these are two different people, two different motivations. And my biggest growth and biggest viewership, or even sometime in present day, you could say it's lower than what it was, has come from this is fun. I like having it, I like being here with my community. I like being entertained versus this is what gets me the views, growth, games, money. You know what I mean? And once
right,
I was really looked at that, I was like, yeah, I'm not doing this. I'm gonna do what's fun. If we get a lot of views, bet. If we don't, I'm entertained. You may be entertained because I'm entertained, and we gonna keep it going. And if it doesn't work, we'll do something else. What else is entertaining for me and y'all? You know what I mean?
mhm.
So I've been through those, for me, phases where it was just kinda like, "Ooh, like, I need to be live 7 days, 8 hours." Now I'm like, "Fam, I'm older." Like, "You got 5 days, and if I get tired, I might end a little early
Right.
because I got work and other things to do." So, it's just a topic. I feel like that happens a lot on Twitch.
Yes.
With all I think every streamer goes through it,
Yeah.
like, what gets views, what's growth, or what's fun, and making a balance. Not saying just have fun, like, I love League of Legends, but, like, I love League of Legends,
Mhm.
that's my game. I don't recommend streaming it, there's 1,000,010 people, and honestly, I'm bronze, I'm bad at the game. I just wanna disclaim, but I love playing it, I really am. Like, I'm bad at the game, like, I'm decent, but I'm bad in the scheme of things. But it's like, that's not a stream game for me, that's an off-stream game,
Right.
or maybe throw it in sometime. But, it's like make a balance, but just make sure it's fun. Because
Yeah.
if it's not, it comes through on the content and it ain't gonna work. But that's something I had to learn. That was years ago when I was like, hey, we gotta switch gears because this ain't right.
Right.
It might get me more money, but I think long-term happiness, wellness, no. And now what's funny now, if I find some funny Pokemon, I'll go back and be like, hey, I'll be in these Pokemon streets, but you know, only if it's something new that I would enjoy. That's what's at the forefront, I'd say.
Woo, because
I know that was a lot.
no, no, no,
It's
no,
just
because
big.
like I felt that in my soul because you say that about Pokemon. I get that maybe once an expansion for Final Fantasy. Like
Oh, fam, yes.
yes.
I'm with you. Like, I remember I was heavy, like, Imma do this, Imma make gods. Imma be
Beginning
like,
of
Dave, what do you
expansion,
like?
right?
Right, right. And then, like, once I catch up on everything, I'm like, I'm looking for something to do, but I'm not entertained. And since I'm not entertained, like, I have not unsubbed Final Fantasy. I log in and maintain my house consistently.
Just to
But,
make sure it
like,
don't get
like, what's
destroyed.
yeah, oh, fam, I'm always the one auto demolition canceled. That's me. I'm
Mhm.
that player where it's like, you're not getting my house because in the old days, even currently, it's hard to get one. I think I spent like 3 days trying to stay up late trying to get the house during the big
I
server purge or whatever.
always
You know what I'm talking about?
yeah.
Yeah.
I always tell
I
the
think I was in
story.
your chat.
I was always
Yes.
tell the story of you coming in chat.
Yes. Oh my God.
It's like,
Being like,
hey,
yeah,
I'm about
it's
to get
like,
a
wait, we gotta
house.
map out our ways?
Yeah. I'm like,
I
Dave,
didn't
good
understand how
luck.
it worked.
Good luck, man.
And I woke up and I didn't get a single thing.
Nope.
I got lucky a few weeks later that one was up, and I was like, "Ooh, this is mine. We got it." So yes,
Oh
that was a funny
man,
time.
your
I am
story
that
is
person. I
like
was
a
like,
cautionary
"Ooh."
tale. Like, yeah, I'm gonna get a house today. No, you ain't.
It's like, "No, you're
No,
not.
no.
Are you logged in?" I'm like, "No." "Where are you?" "I'm far. I'm not even on my server. I'm on a different one."
Yeah, you should have been at that house
I was not
on,
ready.
on server up.
Right.
Do and set yourself to a way so because people were
Mhm.
ruthless. They would like try to
Yes.
talk to you as you were like
Why you trying to
they would
yeah,
try to trade you.
it
No,
was
no, they would try to trade you
oh, oh, no.
as you were trying to get a house. Like it was savage back in
That's
the
hilarious.
days. Like back in the days, it was crazy. But yeah, man,
Mhm.
like what you're saying about Pokemon, like I feel with Final Fantasy, like at least once an expansion because we go through lulls all the time. We go through
Yeah.
content lulls all the time, and it's like outside of raid, outside of me doing my venue stuff, my DJ stuff, outside
Yeah.
of doing Unreal just to make money, I'm just waiting on expansion, on the
Mhm.
next expansion right now because there's nothing. So
Right.
it gives me a little bit of freedom to go and play some other stuff. It's great, but like I like happy like that's his thing. That's his thing. He'll have time every day to do it because that's his game and that's his niche.
Yeah.
I couldn't. I couldn't.
Yeah, I learned that. I've seen some people, really a lot of people in Pokemon be able to do that.
Mhm.
For me, if it doesn't stay fun, I gotta mix that content up.
Yeah.
And the strength of I mean, there's both I wouldn't say good and bad of it, but I guess there is both good and bad of it. If you're known for one niche, you will thrive in that niche. That's with anything.
Hmm.
But if you're able to mix it up, you may find more people that want to work with you in those outside of it. Like through Pokemon, ironically, I'm gonna be real, just naturally off Twitch, Pokemon only. I made a lot of money naturally just from sticking Pokemon, being the Pokemon guy, shiny hunting.
Hmm.
Like I made a lot of money naturally off Twitch. And you can look at my current subs now and be like, "Oh, well, you don't make as much." I'm like, "Well, I've done the most sponsorships over the past 2 years and that's been more money than me just being the Pokemon guy with a huge amount of subs." You
Right.
know what I mean? It's like, why? It's because they see like, "Oh, he plays MOBAs. Oh, he does RPGs. Oh, he could do multiplayer games." So by being someone that could showcase multiple games, mobile, like I did a sponsor stream for Queens of Fortune recently. It's a
Hmm.
mobile game that's similar to D&D. I wouldn't be surprised if they haven't seen my Baldur's Gate 3 streams. But if I did Pokemon only, they might be like, well, he does Pokemon, it doesn't kind of fit.
Right.
But now it's like if you branch out, you can tend to find more different sponsors and more things. They're gonna be like someone can say he doesn't play shooters. Well, he plays this. That was a shooter. Maybe he'd be a good fit for this sponsor.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it has its pros and cons.
And
Now the viewership on Twitch may be lower at subs, but the sponsors in other areas make up, if not more.
and I feel like for a lot of people who go down that route, the variety route, um that's a big conversation for a lot of people because you're talking about people who who get partnered for a category and they focus and they hit that category hard even after partnership and still thrive. Whereas variety is a whole different monster. Like
Mhm.
you go away from your thing and everybody notices that dip and whatnot, but like it's like the people who are there for you that will always be there for you naturally.
Exactly.
But like variety is challenging for anyone. What were some
Mhm.
some of the challenges you noticed when you were branching out and doing other stuff, when you were doing sponsor stuff, when you were doing anything outside the realm of Pokemon?
I will say some of the challenges, and this is probably relatable to all of us on Twitch, is that viewer drop and that sub count drop, and whatever it is, that drop when you do new content, you already know, like, hey, I know it's gonna be a little bit less. But for all of us, it makes us panic initially. Like
Yep,
we have to also, I can only speak for myself, but I feel like this is relatable to everyone.
makes me
But I
drunk.
feel like once you see that dip, you're like, no, what am I doing? I'm messing up my challenge. I need to go back to Pokemon right now. But my headspace was, hey, my mental, I need to do something else because this isn't as fun for me. I pride myself on keeping the stream entertaining both for me and people watching, and that's what I feel like makes it good. So initially, I feel like it all hits us like, oh, the numbers are down, subs are down. Is it not entertaining? Do they not like it? It's like, no, you have to, especially when you switch from niche to variety, you got to build back
Right.
up because some people they only want to watch streamers of that game,
Yeah.
and like you can't be mad at that. I know some people get upset. I'm like, you can't be mad at that because it's like I'm gonna be honest. Like I like watching MOBAs. I like watching League of Legends.
Hmm.
Um, like let's say you play like I don't know much about Shin Megami Tensei, but like I'll watch you play it. But if I randomly wanted to see Shin Megami Tensei, I'm like I don't really know much about this. No, but I'm like, what Slash playing? I watch. You know what I mean? Like I don't know what's going on, but I'm here to say what's up. You know,
Oh,
so like
David.
it's just one of those. It's just one of those things. You know what I mean? So hopping back on it, it's just I think that's the biggest mental block that
Yeah.
happens that may either scare some people back into their content or trying to do it in, or just say, hey, I'm just gonna figure it out. We're gonna rebuild back up.
Yeah. And see, not a lot of people know this. And I'll spill a little bit. I'll spill a little tea, personal tea.
Mhm,
I A couple years back, like I had a coming to Jesus moment, and
mhm,
I was like this was like me off stream, like really looking at everything, and I'm talking to a close friend, and I'm like, I think this was around Shadowbringers. I'm like,
mhm.
what if I make this the last expansion where I just really stream Final Fantasy and just walk away, like just pull a Black Album, Jay-Z, walk away,
Mhm.
but still come back. uh,
Hey, look, new Pokemon game come out. I'm like, look, you gonna get a stream or two,
yeah,
but don't expect me to stay long.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, like I had a real coming to Jesus moment. I'm like, man, do I really like, because I've been variety, and like going from variety back to Final Fantasy, like that's hard too, because like the people have
Yeah.
already dipped, and then coming back, you had to fight back for the Final Fantasy people, because again, it like in Shadowbringers, it grew. That
It really
it
did.
really grew. And like I'm seeing, and from what I do on State of the Realm, I'm learning of like a lot of new people, a lot of new content creators who are killing it in rating, or killing it in one job category or whatnot. And yeah, they these motherfuckers just started.
Yeah. It's how it is on the Twitchverse, man.
Yeah.
But that is the was the nature of Twitch, I guess,
Yeah.
Shoot, Pokemon too. I get to know these people. I'm like, ooh, I'm not the Pokemon guy no more. Not that that's bad, but like, I'm just like, look, I love what y'all do. Could I do it? It's
Mhm.
just not in my heart to just shiny hunt,
Right.
but you know, it's like I'll play sometime.
And that's another thing I wanted to touch about, because the original reason why I got into 14 was the community. The community will when I started, like back in 2013, and I was on the beta, like everybody was so helpful. I was terrible. I was trash. And
Mhm.
but still, like everybody was just so welcoming and helpful, and it had such a good community. Um, what would you say about the Pokemon community? Like, not like just
I'd
within.
say, hmm, let me think. What would I say within the Pokemon community? Honestly, it's pretty chill. You know
Okay.
what I mean? I'll say at least in my niche where I was at. So I mean, it can get competitive at VGC or these playthroughs or runs. But for me, I'm gonna be real. I was just the kind of shiny hunting guy. And what I liked about it at that time is like a lot of us were doing the exact same thing of trying to hunt after a mon and having conversation, because like we're on autopilot on resets, you know what I mean? Or doing it, so it was a really, really a vibe, at least for my community of Pokemon, because it's like, bro, we listen to music, we talking movies. Oh snap, shiny, up, reset over it, or whatever happened. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So it was for me, it was just a nice vibe, and we could talk about anything. Honestly, my Pokemon streams were just chatting streams, but we had Pokemon on screen. You know,
Right.
now, for the greater community, it just depends on what you want to do. Because if you do playthroughs like Nuzlocke, that's you and your audience experience, your
Mhm.
unique experience, and we're commenting, "Ooh, that's good, bad, hype, whatever it may be." You're a competitive battler. I mean, not saying they talk trash. I don't know if I can we curse here?
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I make sure I'm being
Yeah. You're
respectful.
good.
But
You
yeah,
good. You
like
good.
I mean, if you're a Pokemon battler, you nice, talk shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that's where it comes. I'm like, you want to battle me in chat? Pull up. So it just depends on what's your niche. For me, I'm horrible at building teams. I just play them. So, I don't talk shit because I'm like, I'll get beaten. You give me like Mewtwo and all these OP mons. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But in summary, it just depends on what lane you want to go in as a whole of community. But I know Final Fantasy 14, phenomenal community.
Right.
I'm in it too, man,
Yeah.
because I still am bad at reading. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm the person that's gonna be like, yes, I'm your healer, but I talk to chat, so you're getting healed less. I might be like, hey, how you doing? You say, Dave, your take is dead. They're like, oh, Rez, okay. So your day's good. My day's good. Dave, you're not healing team. Oh, here's a heal. So I'm the distracted healer, but I'm fun to play with. But that's the risk you get with playing with me, and I'm live. I am a what is it? I'm a floor dragoon,
Oh, you're a
floor
Florida
tank,
too?
and a distract healer. I
Oh,
am
Goon
damn, I'm
Life,
just like
Goon
that jump.
Life. Let's
That
go.
backwards jump
Let's go.
that backwards jump is everything. And in Final Fantasy 16, you played it yet?
Yeah.
Okay, Dion,
Yeah.
the dragoon.
Yeah.
Look, he did that jump. I was like, yep, I'm going back to dragoon lane. I went to play that exact same
The
thing.
job's getting reworked, right?
I can't wait. As long as I got my jump, I'm excited.
I'm
I need
scared.
something
I'm scared to
different.
death of what they're
Yes,
gonna do.
man.
I'm scared to death of what they're gonna do to my job. Um,
I hope it's good. It's gotta
because
be.
like
As
you
long as it's
remember
flashy.
Summoner got reworked, and they're like,
Yeah.
they just eat crayons.
Well, okay, I feel that.
Yeah.
Because like astrologian, I don't know how to
Yeah.
pronounce it. But when they got rid of my Yu-Gi-Oh system, I was mad. Because I'm like, oh, I got
Same.
defense card
I'm
over here.
so.
Now I'm just like, I gave you buff. I quit the
Mm,
class. I quit the class. I quit the class. It's
mm.
like level 80 something. And I was like, I'm done. I'm
And
going
I tell
sage.
Happy all the time, like, bruh, like we had
I
the original card system was so good. The original card system
It was
was
because I'm like,
great.
bro, like I'm healing, I'm doing damage, but I gotta figure out, okay, this is the card I got, burn it or not. Like it was a mini game
Right.
within the class, and that's what made it fun. Now it's just rotation.
Yeah,
I don't like
that's it.
it.
Like,
And that was my
and you
favorite
want to
class.
know why? You want to know why they got rid of the cards? Because all the hardcore
Why?
raiders was like, well, there's only one card and it's a balance, and all the other cards don't mean shit because they don't give damage. And so
They were fun.
yeah,
They were
they
fun,
were fun as
genuinely.
hell. Like every card
If
served a
you give
purpose.
me Yeah, like, if you give me a mini game within any class, I will stick. Like, I don't mind RNG. Like, yeah, you could be optimal. If you wanna be optimal, go be white mage or something. I don't know. You know what I mean? But, like, give me make it fun for me. Make it fun for me. I don't know. That's just me, though.
Um,
Hey, what's up? I was just saying in chat.
did you did you ever meet any content creators within the Pokemon category?
Really, I've done a lot of cool things with them.
Really?
I've met a lot of them. I
Okay.
think one time for Direct Relief, I didn't get a chance to make it this year.
Hmm.
There's something called Pokethon, and I think we all flew. I forgot where, but I know it was all flew to California. It
Hmm.
was covered by Direct Relief, and we did 7 days in a row streaming Pokemon content all across. Like everybody had segments. Like I played Pokemon Snap, and it was a competition against another player going on simultaneously. So, that was with a group of people I've met. But since I guess I go to every TwitchCon, and I'll admit I'm pretty good about if I'm in a community, I want to get to know like who else is here, y'all vibing. Not like even though I should do collaborations more, I'm pretty bad about asking people. But I've just been lucky in the Pokemon community and even Final Fantasy. So when people are like, Dave, you want to play? And I'm like, yes, like, what's your schedule? I'll make it somehow if I'm able. You know what I mean? So I've met a lot of the Pokemon streamers and even people I've met outside of Pokemon. I just like talking to people. I like watching new channels and getting to know people. If they're cool, like, yeah, cool, let's chat. So yeah, I've
Yeah,
met a lot of people.
and that's how it's been for me. For Final Fantasy, going to. You still have yet to go to a fan fest, have you?
I'm gonna go. I'm genuinely gonna go
You
because, like,
need
at first I'm
to.
like, try
You
to
you
drag a
need
friend
to
into it with me,
experience. You need
but
to
I'm gonna
experience it
go.
at least once, because it's always
Yeah,
one. It's always been in Vegas, so there's that.
yeah,
Um, this past one was like hot as hell, and like seating was horrendous. But still, it's
well,
like
hey, hopefully they fix it.
yeah, it's always a good experience because like even outside of FanFest, like there's so much to do, and like people
Yeah,
still find a way to get together. Like we'll just schedule some random shit, like just go to Gordon Ramsay, or just come to this room or Airbnb, and we got a
yeah.
hot tub, we got drinks. Like I
Oh, I
was
sound like a
I
fun
was the
old time.
drinks person. I was the drinks person this
So I'll be hitting up you at FanFest,
yeah,
being like,
yeah,
so where we
yeah. Like
going?
you come into the room, you're getting a hurricane. Yeah,
Distracting healer is prepared.
yeah. But yeah, like that's pretty much that's mainly how I've met like a lot of people outside of game. Um,
Hmm.
and it's such like just meeting people in the category. Like I even
Hmm.
got introduced to like one of my SMT people. She raids, she does ultimates, she DJs in 14, and like finally met her at FanFest. So
Nice.
yeah.
Well, something funny? Speaking of meeting friends through Final Fantasy,
Uh-huh.
I actually went to brunch with one of my mods. I met him through Final Fantasy
Uh-huh.
14, as a viewer, and we just went to lunch. I spoke to him, and he brought his kids, and we all linked up. So you can really find a community through it.
Oh God,
I,
yeah.
I love that. I
Yeah, I
love that.
loved it. I love it so much. Now,
All right, man. Fest, putting it on the list.
you got
I'm
to.
listening.
You got to. Now, uh, this is more of a recent topic because they Twitch opened up applications for Twitch Ambassador. Now,
Mhm.
walk me through how you became a Twitch Ambassador and what that was like.
So it's funny. I'm out of pool. See, I'm pouring up my water for this in my cute little cup. All right. So back in my day, but no, what's wild about it, and fun fact about the Twitch ambassadors,
Uh-huh.
I'm glad that they opened up applications for it. But honestly, the first set and maybe a few others, I can't speak for anything after my year. The first set was in 2018. They were 20 handpicked streamers.
Mhm.
Now I don't know how my name got on the table. I did do some stuff with Twitch,
Mhm.
but they emailed me, hey, are you interested in becoming an ambassador? This is the program, yada yada yada. And I'm just like, yeah, like like why not? That sounds really cool. I'm just honored that they were looked at me and said, "This is an example of what Twitch is." You know what I mean? This type of community or broadcast or whatever it may be. So yeah, for me, it was an email, and from there on, like, okay, cool, you're ambassador. This is how we're going to promote it, and we're just developing it. So it was very early on stage. They do a lot more now,
Right.
but and fun fact about it, when they came to announcing the program, I was the first person they announced. They did an announcement every so often, and there was 20 of us, so they would announce one person. A few weeks passed, your next ambassador, but I was the first one with
You
it.
were
So
the first
technically,
ambassador?
I was yeah, so there were 20 ambassadors announced, but I was the launched video. Meet your Twitch ambassadors. First one, DataDave. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then a week or two later, next one, this person. So it was cool. So I call myself the first,
Damn.
But that's how it is. But in regards to application, I couldn't even tell you these days.
I had to like psych myself up to apply. I'm like, bruh. I,
Oh, what they say, man, you got to shoot your shot always,
right,
man.
right. But like, I mean, like I always tell people, like, yo, I'm just a country boy who drinks on stream and plays video games. That's
Man, I'm just a guy named Dave. I like video games, and I added data because I'm in computer science.
Yeah.
That's the summary.
Yeah.
That's the summary.
So like it's like really like because I felt like I had to kind of have a conversation with myself before, like while looking at the application, like, am I really ambassador material? I'm like,
Yes. Yes. That is like, I'd say you have to do the combo, but yes. And I'm sure the chat will agree.
I mean, of course they're going to agree. I mean, well, here's the thing.
Mhm.
Again, 10 years on this platform, 10 years. I'm not like, I'm not one of the big heads. I'm not one like, I'm not an XQC. I'm not I'm not a Ludwig, even though Ludwig's off the platform right now. He's on YouTube. Hell, I'm not a tech. I'm not a DJ. I exist. Like and that's the thing, and that's what I was like, I just exist on this platform.
I mean to say I disagree, man. I disagree. And what I say is it's true. You're not them, but not to be that the whole motivational speaker thing, but I'm like, you're you, man. You are Sly. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's like at the end of the day, like I have had those feelings too. Cause I'm gonna be honest, a lot of the ambassadors, they are thriving. They got their niche. And for me, I'm like, I'm variety, I'm Dave. I'm not the biggest ambassador by far.
Right.
I may be on the lower end if we look at each 20 cities year, but at the end of the day, it's like I still got my community. I still do these cool things, and I still get these great experiences at TwitchCon and other events. And I say you could arguably say the exact same thing for you, man. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I wouldn't put this is my personal just opinion, being an ambassador more so like it's this big thing. It's a cool honor. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you're ambassador. Yes, I am. But like it's more just kind of like, hey, you have a community, you understand Twitch, you understand what your niche or what your community is, and that's a good example of Twitch. I arguably say there are so many streamers on Twitch, yourself included, that could easily be ambassadors because, like, you know what you're doing,
Right.
and even when you don't, you still find a way to navigate forward. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's all I see for it. Like, that's why I really see that program being. So I'll arguably say, nah, you get it. But my 5 cents, not to chime in on your podcast being like, yo, you are you and you are great. But nah, literally, like, that's my 5 cents. Just a little different.
Okay. Well, thank you. Where do you feel like the investor program compared to when you got in, how has it grown? How is it different? Like I mean, there's the pomp and circumstance, and then there's everything you get with it and whatnot. First of all, what do you get with it?
Oh, go ahead. With what I can say, because I don't know how much specifics I
okay.
can depending
What
on
you
what it
can
is.
say.
Oh, well, no. Oh, what I can say, it's like it's nothing. Just laws. I'll speak on too specifics, but like what's cool with it is there is a Twitch ambassador team on Twitch. So of course the teams And we have had chances in to hear certain things and give our opinion as streamers before it's launched out. You know
Okay.
what I mean? So that's where it goes. Like, can say like maybe there's a statement they want to put out there, or hey, we're launching this new feature, what do you all think? And I could literally be in there like, there have been the times where I was like, hey, does it keep people of color in mind? Or, how does this actually work? We get to ask specifics to them, to those teams sometimes, not always, but sometimes we may be able to give our input on that's not a good idea. What does that mean? Or you phrase it this way, like explain that to me because I don't get it. That doesn't sound good. So, like, sometimes we could be a part of those conversations if they allow, of course, and they're optional. You don't have to show up, but they'll just say, "Hey, you interested in this? Do you want to give our feedback?" And it's like, "Yeah, I'll give my feedback. I got some time." So I'll say that's one of the big things. Outside of that, we may potentially get access to betas of certain things before they launch. You know what I mean? Um, Even though it's not exclusive to ambassadors, I don't know if you've seen the channel skins yet.
No.
Have you seen that on Twitch? All
No.
right, so basically, I've done a sponsor with Hot Pockets since that's already done. And when I'm streaming and I'm live, the little like following and live list, it says data, it shows my icon X Hot Pockets. You know what I mean? That was
Mhm.
a sponsor stream.
Oh wow.
So did I get in there because of my ambassador? I'm not gonna say necessarily no, but that might have been a factor of who can we use for this test of it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I just, in my personal opinion, it's not a specific thing, but I feel like it's more of a okay. Why don't we bring some of our ambassadors to try this out and some streamers we know? So
Right.
it's one of those things. Like it's not a guarantee for everything, but maybe let's keep them in mind. Because majority of the ambassadors are probably people that say, okay, they're pretty reliable, they're good. Let's call them forward and see what they think. So that's what I think at least.
Okay. And how is it different from when being the first, the genesis?
I will say where it started, it felt like it was these are great examples of Twitch. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
I feel like now it's like, hey, what can we use our ambassadors for? I think they were trying to find out what or define what an ambassador is and what we should do. And we've even given our suggestions. And I think that's how they've eventually developed it to say, hey, we got this. Why don't we ask some of our ambassadors and invite not only them, but some other streamers? You know what I mean? So it's been
Yeah.
a little bit more if you want to give your feedback or do you want to test this product? When it first came out, I felt like it was more like promotion for us.
Mhm.
And now it's like, yeah, it's promotion plus, hey, you can give your input because we see the value for it. See what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think it's evolved into that.
Hmm. Maybe one day they'll go.
One day
One day
indeed,
they'll go
man.
past my application, and maybe I'll get that email. Maybe.
Hey, I'm rooting for you, man.
Um, One thing I've been meaning to ask a few of my friends that I keep forgetting
Mhm.
because I feel like this. I feel like it affected a lot of us differently. So the the pandemic era, as I like to call it, where I still kind of feel like we're still in it. But
Yeah.
but when it started, how did that impact you? And what you did.
Um, I can give you the whole now because it was a lot in a good way, even though it had to be a panorama. Everybody
Yeah,
keeps switching the words.
yeah, the
But
Panda
jokes
Express.
aside, exactly the pizzeria.
Yeah,
But no,
yeah,
jokes
exactly.
aside, in regards to the pandemic, how it affected me,
Hmm.
it did allow me to stay at home more. Because at that time, I was pretty new at my job. I graduated 2019. I think the pandemic was what was the exact time frame? Like 2022 roughly. That time. So 2019 graduated. I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I know I wanted to leave grad school. So I moved back to Atlanta. I stayed at my folks' place and like, cool, I'm streaming full time. What do I want to do? So I started to work at the school. I hit up my advisor, and then I really, for the first time in my life, worked 9 to 5. I drove up there to campus, 9 o'clock, left at 5, drove through traffic, streamed at 7. That's why my stream time went from 6 to 7, only because of that job. But yeah, it was rough. And then the pandemic hit, and then my job went remote. And what's funny, a lot of time on the job, there wasn't much to do if you're not teaching or working on the project.
Hmm.
But I finished early. But now that I was able to be remote, one way it affected me, and I guess we'll go down the list, is that with my job being more remote, it gave me flexibility to do other things. Like I can stay at home, get my project done in a couple of hours, teach my class, maybe work on a YouTube video or TikTok, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that gave me more flexibility in my work life, which was great, which means it gave me more energy for my stream life. Two, at that time, I was getting into voiceover. I did classes from like 2018, 2019. I didn't even audition for that full year. It was just something that I was like, I want to pick up another skill alongside streaming because I don't necessarily want to keep working as an institution. You know what I mean? So I was like, what other skill can I get into? I'm like, I'm looking at voice acting. I never had a class in my life. Let me take some online, you know? But being at home more, it gave me flexibility to say, hey, I can build me a booth and start auditioning. So started to audition, which was really, really nice. And that's how my voiceover career started, you know? And then after that, like it just those 2 years gave me a lot of time to really study voice acting, try different forms of content. I know I had a heavy TikTok era, heavy doing YouTube era, and like I was pretty successful in it, but it was like as long as it's fun, I'll keep doing it. I did a lot of skits, but they're still funny skits. But
I still remember the skits. I remember
yeah,
watching
I
a
made
lot of your
funny ones.
skits.
I took a 30-day challenge. That joint turned into a 60 to 90 and it blew up. But I was like, I'm putting too much time in making these and mapping them out. I want to do something else.
Mhm.
But it was fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I guess it really we're called the COVID voice actors or the post-pandemic voice actors. Like during the pandemic, we got the training, we got the gear, and we started auditioning, and now there's a lot of voice actors now. So yeah. So, overall, sad it had to be during a pandemic, but overall, it was good for me because it changed my work life. It built my voiceover resume and skill set and gave me the time to keep content going.
And I'm glad you brought that up because I remember your shift to voice acting and I actually know quite a few of my friends who even before the pandemic were like really trying to get into voice acting. So first of all, what brought that up? What brought that on? What gave you the itch to say, hey, I want to go into voice acting? I mean, a lot of people say
Well,
like it's just anime or anything, but like, yeah, what gave you that itch?
For me, honestly, what's funny is I watched Kagi Films. He's now Sayu on Twitch, and he
Yes.
blew up. You know him,
Yeah.
but yeah, I used to watch his content because he was streaming like Shaman King and other games, and he's like, "Yo, I'm Kagi Films." I'm like, "Yeah, I know Kagi. I watch his content," and he does voice acting, and I was like, "Wow, he's really starting to pop off for it." At that time, I was looking like, what else do I want to do on stream? Do I want to lean into computer science and game dev? No, like I like code, I understand code. I don't like coding. Ironically, says the professor. But like I'm not somebody that I want to go work for Google and create something. But
Right.
I understand it well enough to where I could teach you the skills to do so. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
That's why being a professor fits me because it's like I don't want to do all this, but if you want to learn it, I'll tell you everything. But back on task, I saw voice acting is like, oh, that's pretty cool. He does voice acting. Like everyone else says, I want to get into voice acting, and that started that itch. But I'm the type of person that if I'm interested in something, I want to learn everything. Teach me. And if it takes money to hire a coach or get a resource or go through it, I will spend it because it's like I don't want to be someone just casually doing this. I want to learn how to do this. You
Right.
know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
what's funny, I got a little piano a friend gifted to me. Not that I'm about to take piano classes and coaching, but I am going to buy a beginner's guide. If that's not enough, okay, when I have the time and I'm free, coach, teach me something. You know what I mean? But I'm one
Yeah.
of those people. It's like I really just, and I guess this is funny why I stay in that education, academia. I really just like to learn. And I think that's one of my strongest points in streaming is that if I see someone do something cool, I'm like, I want to know how to do that. Let me look it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what started that itch. And then after I started taking some classes, after a while, I was like, this is actually fun. I didn't never saw myself as an actor, but I'm enjoying this. Let me go deeper. And then from that one coach, I was like, okay, what if I took another coach? What if I learned about improv? What if I learned about anime acting? What if I learned about commercial? And it's like just from taking these different classes, studying on my own reading, it started to improve my craft. Like I'm still taking classes, like I'm getting
Hmm.
better. But that's what really got me into it is the moment I realized this is fun, the moment I'm going to keep learning and keep developing in it. And it's the same for streaming. That's how I started. I was like, this is fun. I want to keep this going. Ooh, can I do a transition on this? Ooh, what if I did this to it? It's just that that initial interest turned into a deep dive?
I remember the first time seeing on Twitch, because it came up as an ad constantly. Um, the Zaxby's ad.
Yep, that was my first and big that was like the biggest gig I got, which was wild. I was like, "Fam, what?
I was like,
Zaxby's?"
I was like, yo, the homie on Zaxby's. Let's fucking
Yeah,
go.
that was my biggest gig that I booked in that space. It was crazy.
Were there? I mean, I could probably consider like many like equipment. You know, like you said, the training. What were some other challenges when you first started getting into voice acting?
So, here's the thing about voice acting, it's my complaint, but it's the reality.
Uh,
So, it's expensive. Like, if you told me today you wanna be an actor, I'm like, "Okay, you gotta get to acting classes." Just an hour of their time, depending on the teacher, would be 80, realistically up to, like, 150 to $200 just
mhm.
for an hour. In that hour, you're not gonna get all the skills and tools equipped to do it.
Right.
You wanna go to acting school? That's a tuition, and for me, that's not a current option. So, the hardest challenges, at least with voice acting and acting, first up, you really need to learn how to act. A lot of voice actors say this is a catchphrase, but it's saying it's voice acting, but the A is capital, the V is lowercase. The reason why is because it's like if you're a great actor, you can put on a voice, but them acting chops need to be phenomenal. And what does that take? Training. You know what I mean? So that's the initial most expensive thing. The second big barrier, and I'll say the challenge for a lot of people, even me when I started, is you need a booth and it needs to sound good. Now that doesn't mean you got to have the $9,000 custom built booth or 5,000 in your home closet. Like some people have closets with acoustic gear that sound perfect, but it's about how does it sound? Like if you have a closet too small, it's gonna sound like a small closet. If you have a closet too big, it's gonna sound wide. Like audio is what I struggle with just with streaming sometimes. But it's the hardest part is getting that space treated to how you can do your work, right? But that's if you want to go on a professional level. If you just want to do it casually, YouTube projects, I mean, I've done a desk mic when I started off, and when I started really taking voice acting seriously, I literally got a shower curtain, a corner of the wall. I got like some acoustic blankets, and I put padding on the wall. I had to clean. It was at my parents' place too. They weren't the happiest about it, but they were like, "You're passionate. Go ahead, whatever." I'm like, "Okay, cool." So I put padding there, and the good thing is, it sounded good. It didn't sound great, but it sounded good enough, and that's where I initially recorded my first voice acting roles. And they
Mhm.
weren't big roles. It was just like small little projects, independent
Right.
games, some games surprisingly
Right.
early on. But it's just getting that initial booth. And then once you got a place to record that's good, then it's just like, hey, you need to know how to act and act well. So that's the expensive part.
Whew. Yeah.
And honestly, I'll even throw in just a little bit more.
Oh, please.
Um, I'm still like I told you, I still take classes because you always got to know, like, okay, how am I approaching it? What advice you give me? I feel like now I'm gonna be real. I feel like I can act. I feel like I can act extremely well. I'm always learning more. But like it's the fact that hey, you're still in class and you have the agents and some gigs. You know what I mean? So it's that. But I argue to say over this past year and a half, a lot of those acting lessons click, and now I'm like, "Oh, I know how to do this." But I'm now 4 or 5 years in acting. It just takes a while.
See,
What's up?
I was in terms of like voice work, or well, not really voice work. I say I listened to, like, when I was growing up, and even still to this day, I was raised off of sports radio.
Mhm.
So like there are a lot of voices, a lot of personalities that like I attached to. Fucking Dan Patrick, Mike and Mike when they were on and when they were a thing, Jim Rome, like some of the local, voices and everything. And that, like, when I first started, I kind of modeled my stream kind of like you know a live thing, but with the spirit of voice radio,
Yeah.
of sports radio, or any kind of talk radio,
Mhm.
and that's kind of where I got the thing. Like, and people always, and random whenever I joined random extremes or anything in 14, and I
Yeah,
come in with like all this shit that I have right now, and just say,
yeah,
hey, how you doing? Like, oh my god, do you do radio? I mean, yeah, I do
yeah,
something on Twitch every Saturday, and everything,
yeah.
and it kind of led to like me even leaning into that. Um, do you see yourself, doing, like you said, you talked about Sayu, and
Yeah.
Sayu's one of the voices I regularly know. I watch all his vids. Hell, he was in P3 Reload, for God's sakes. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
literally.
yeah. So where do you see yourself, as you grow within the industry? Like, what do you see
Not
yourself
necessarily.
signing yourself up to, or what
It's
roles
like
do you want?
not necessarily to follow his trajectory because I
Uh-huh.
like, everybody's path is different,
Right.
but his type of trajectory from taking his content, booking his roles, and still continuing to do both streaming and voice acting professionally,
Yeah.
that's the path I want to go on.
Mhm.
What I see a lot happen, and it's not bad. I mean, it makes sense. Like a lot of people finally get voice acting roles, get big in that industry, then they'll stream, which is still perfectly fine. But for me, I saw him do both and still continue to grow both, and
Yeah.
that's what I want to do. So, dream goal of mine is to be able to continue to build my community on Twitch while I continue to build my voice acting roles and voice acting gigs in the industry. So I use a perfect example of what I would want to do, or what he's currently doing is what I would want to do, and it's just I'm building, I'm growing, I'm auditioning. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
My most recent role, and it's not. We
Oh,
we we, we
speak on
take.
it. Speak on it.
I'll
I
say
mean, if you want to
it's
give
not.
something
It's not.
away,
It's not. I don't want to dis. I don't want to. What's the word I'm say? Downplay the
no,
role,
no,
but I
no,
was in
no.
Honkai Star Rail, so I was in Honkai Star
Let's
Rail,
go.
the latest patch. It's like I only have 18 lines, but then again, you got to be like, well, Dave, that's the biggest. It's one of those to myself things. It's like, yeah, you didn't get the character role. Not going to say who I auditioned for because I don't know if they out or not yet. But it's like I didn't get the big character role. That's like, oh, they rolling on them. But I'm like, hey, but you're in there for those 18 lines. You
Right.
acted well. You worked with them, and you're a character in Hawkeye Star Rail. You know what I mean? So
Right.
it's just like it's one of those. We're building, we're growing, and let's keep it going. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's my most recent work that I've booked that's now out there.
Woo. I
And that's
mean,
like
that
technically video game
yeah,
wise, that's the
that's
biggest
that's
one
up
up there.
that's up
That's
there. That is the
literally there.
biggest.
So we're still growing.
I mean,
So yeah,
you're within the what, the Sea Dog VA, the Trash Taste, because all
yeah,
of Trash Taste has been in Honkai Star Rail.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, like you're shit, yeah, yeah. And
Oh,
you even
that's my
auditioned
little
for a
foot in the door.
character?
Yeah, not gonna say which because they might not be out yet. But just being able to say, hey, even if I didn't book this or get this opportunity, my name was in the pool. Now, will I ever know how close so far I was? I don't know, but I auditioned well enough to say, hey, here's a character for you. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah,
they are gonna just give you a character because you auditioned.
right.
I hear that a lot of times casting directors, you have to have given a good audition. And what happens a lot, if y'all don't mind a little fun fact, what I'm learning from some casting directors,
Hmm.
this isn't speaking to all of them, but it's one that I've taken a class with recently. They say a lot of times if they hear an amazing audition, they're like, "Ooh, this was amazing, but this character doesn't fit you. I'm gonna find somewhere to put you." Cause like that was good acting.
Right.
So a lot of times when you do get those NPC or side roles, that says a lot because it's like, hey, I loved this, but you can be over here. You can, it's only 18 lines. Cool. But it's not the character. So I mean, that's just to me validation to say, hey, I did good enough to where they found at least a role for me, even though I didn't book. There may have been a better person, whether they're more famous, they had a better audition, it may be a better voice note. It could have been a stumble over words. There are a multitude of reasons, but
Hmm.
in summary, that's how it goes when it comes to casting.
Hmm.
I could talk about voice acting all day. That's a
Oh
whole
man,
pigeonhole.
like when I go to a con in Galveston pretty much like every year, called Owning
Mhm.
Con, and one of their big things is they bring like a lot of voice actors pretty much every year. And
Mhm.
you know, one of my good friends that I met, like he hasn't been in a few years, but one of my good friends that I met, Bill Butts. He does the
Oh,
he does
yeah.
the voice of
I love
Albert.
Bill.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
my homie. That's the
I met
homie, man.
I met yeah, Bill Butts, that's funny. That's the Brody. Yeah,
Yeah,
he really cool people.
yeah.
I've met him a couple times. I think I met him at E3 once,
Hmm.
and, that's when I learned he was a voice actor. I was like, "Yeah, I do it too," but I'm still kinda like, I'm new, I'm trying to learn, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
But, yeah, Bill is cool people. Bill is really cool
Yeah, that's the
people.
homie.
Like, I've seen him around and interacted with him a few times, but he cool. I watch his stream. He streams too.
Yeah, he
He's
streams.
Albert, and yeah, like you just said, Albert
Hmm.
and, yeah.
Yeah,
So Bill,
even
great.
before the Albert thing, he was still streaming and everything, and like,
Yeah,
yeah,
I didn't know he streamed it in. I found the stream probably within the past few months. I forgot when. And I was like, "Oh snap, what's up, bro?" But he cool.
yeah, that's the homie. I love Bill. Shout out to Bill, by the way. I need to get him on
Shout
here.
out to Bill, genuinely great people.
Yeah. Now, one thing that happened, I remember this. I remember this happening. I think it was during. I want to say this was during the Panda Express. Um,
Mhm.
it was a random tweet. It was a random tweet. It happened so suddenly, and I read it, and I'm like, okay. And I was like, and seeing the community response, I'm like, okay, fuck, yes, you're coming out tweet.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I remember. Oh man.
I was so fucking happy and so fucking happy with the community response
Mhm.
and everything. It walked me through that.
So, we going personal.
Yeah.
I'll give you the long story short.
Okay.
I hate to be the stereotypical Christian gay son, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
But in summary, here's the journey for me, if you don't mind
No.
me
No.
explaining.
No.
So basically, I have the stereotypical family. I love them, but dad was a minister heavily in church. Mom, everybody is heavily in it, and let's be real. In some religions, won't say specific, they're like, "Hey, not the way."
Right.
That's just in summary. So I always knew I was kind of like gay later in life. We'll say I discovered that later in life, and it was hard to deal with. It was really personally hard to deal with because it was just like, "Hey, this is wrong. This is my religion." Like I've been a youth leader before. I'm one of those church every Sunday, Wednesday people, and it's like, "Hey, this is wrong." Even though I feel this is wrong. It didn't take me till much later in life to just come to terms and say, "Hey, I can't just keep teetering the lines of basically being gay and teeter lines of being Christian." At that point in time, and my mind says different now. At that point in time, it's like, hey, you just gotta kind of pick, man. And it's like in reality, I didn't have to, but that's what it felt like to me. You know what I mean? Because I can't keep saying, oh, this is wrong, and oh, this is how I live. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, this is wrong. You feel me? So, it took me till about honestly 25 to one came out to my dad, like, hey, like I feel like I'll be much happier if I'm living this way. You should know first, because that's who I probably was most afraid of. After my dad told my mom, and we ain't gonna go too in depth on the reactions to it. Regards to my pops, my mom's like, "I love you regardless." And after that, brother, sister, friends, and then I was just kind of getting more comfortable with it. But that did make me much happier and comfortable with myself because that was a negative area of my life. And then the scariest one leads to the tweet you mentioned. So I was like, yo, like if I tweet this, like will my community change? They'll be like, am I just a liar for hiding that aspect? And the cool thing is, ironically, when Lil Nas X came out, I just quote tweeted it, "Hey, me too. If y'all still rock with me, cool. If not, like it is what it is." And like you said, the outpouring love for everybody meant so much from my mods, friends, viewers. I remember LogitechG tweeted streamers. It was just really great. And I think after that was a big point for me saying, like, hey, people are accepting just because or at least it's not just because you've grown up in this religion being like, this is how you're gonna be treated, this is wrong. It's like, no, people are cool. It doesn't matter to them. They're like, oh, okay, cool. And like that's what I love about it.
Mm,
Even in today's day, in today's society, I feel like it's been getting a lot better with that,
yeah.
So that's the long story on that. I know we just talked about the tweet, but I'm like, we going all the way here.
Just go like through the entire story because I was kind of curious about that, like curious about the family aspect, because as you mentioned, you know, both of us, we live in the South. Like again,
Yeah,
like we were
fam, I'm in
raised in, like we
Georgia.
were
It's
both
like,
raised in the church. Like I
you
was in
know,
the front pew. My mom made me sit in the front pew every Sunday, whatnot.
I was
Yep.
I went to extra church on Mondays sometime they had just for like they had the extra Bible study service I
Yep.
had to go to. So it's just like, we in the South, and
Yeah.
I did grow up in an environment where I consistently heard it was wrong. And when you're taught something's wrong, you're gonna feel shame for it
Right.
if you identify as that. So it just took for me that eye-opening moment of acceptance from basically the internet, everybody internet community acceptance. My mom accepted that was a big one. Like I said, me and my dad cool, but that's not one of the things we're going to talk about. Like, it's just like, hey, those aspects, we just not specifically here, but like with me and him, we're just not going to like discuss about it.
Right.
It's just one of those things. Like we know it's there, but how you doing today? How's your day? How's life? You know what I mean? So
Right.
like we do have a good relationship still, just not in the area, but it's his religion. Who am I to convince you otherwise? As long as we're both respectful.
Hmm.
And then yeah, with other family members, it's one of those like it's not that nothing's bad going to be said directly to me,
Hmm.
but I know their stance and have heard what they say. So it's the South, it's the religion. What can you do? But and good news, I can luckily say I'm not one of the people to where I had to cut off people. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
Like, oh, that family, like I haven't received hate that some people do experience when that does happen or when they do
Hmm.
come out. So that's been a good thing for me.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Just to see the outpouring of support. Like once you tweet it out, and I'm so glad like your family has been so accepting, because like you said, not a lot of people get that. Not
Not a
Yeah.
lot of people get that good say, hey, whether they agree or not, we
Hmm.
still cool. I can visit if I want.
Right. Right. And like piggybacking off of that, you know, one of the things you know, we have had the experience on the platform is the challenge of just, you know,
Being
being
black.
black.
You literally,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And so add that, add to that the challenges of being LGBTQ on the platform. What has that been like?
I'm gonna be honest, and what's funny is I don't know if it's a bad joke or not, but it's like black and gay pick a struggle, like because we you and my friends joke about that a lot because we're like, look, you gonna struggle being gay, you gonna struggle being black. You chose both debuffs at the beginning, but nah, debuffs is me, but you get the joke. But it's just like,
Yes.
hey, you're gonna struggle for both these aspects. Let's carry it both. So we gotta work harder. But it's being LGBTQIA plus as well as being black, it's some of the same struggles in the sense of
Mhm.
content creation on Twitch. You're gonna get people that tune in your stream and just want to say bad words,
Yep.
if you're black, if you're gay, just for me, it might be double, but I mean, we've been on this platform long enough. I got my word filter, I got my auto mod.
Mhm.
Oh, we're getting follow bot it or whatever. All right, follow alerts off. Like, do like y'all can keep doing it till you're done.
Yeah.
But if they don't, what I've learned on this platform, if they don't get the reaction they want or don't even get a reaction, they're just gonna take it somewhere else.
Yeah,
Like that's
exactly.
how I personally dealt with most of the hateful comments. Maybe I'll comment back just to be whatever. But like, the moment you engage, the moment they got what you want. And I've learned it's not a great protocol or counter to it. But if you get followed by it, turn off your alerts. Like literally just hide all alerts, pretend nothing's happening.
Right.
They'll leave. They'll leave within 30 seconds to a minute and it'll still be smooth. So it's just one of those things, you know what I mean? So yeah.
Speaking of being black on the platform, um, how do you think that has improved over the years, or do you think like there's still work to be done? Because I can speak about that
I'm gonna be
tremendously.
honest. It just it's getting better because I feel that in regards to these spaces, we'll say Twitch, even like sponsors, events, I feel like they're being more mindful now. Let's
Right.
say that. But there's still much work to be done because we're still just, I don't want to say the token, but like there may be two or three of us,
Hmm.
but there needs to be more. Like there's a lot of us on this platform. So
Hmm.
it's funny, like in regards to LGBTQIA plus, I'm an It Gets Better ambassador, but if that same phrase, "it gets better" or "it's getting better" is the same when it comes to being black and queer on Twitch. Like, we're being added to more activations. They're like, "Oh my god, like we have 30 hosts for an event. And we need to have some black people too." So like, that I feel like that's there's starting to be people in those places saying, make it diverse still. You still need to keep people in mind, find some more people, make
Right.
sure we have an activation. So that's something I've been noticing, which is good. And we have more people that work at Twitch or more people working in these positions of power to get us in there. But it's getting better, but it ain't better yet. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's getting better.
And, because this has come up so recently, what are your feelings on the whole like DEI conversation?
Oh gosh.
Please,
Oh,
please,
oh my gosh.
please go in,
Oh
go
my
ham.
gosh.
Please go ham.
It's wild to me how many people could just see a black person to be like, this woke DEI did it. I'm like, fam, one, y'all don't know half the words y'all using to explain this, and you probably can't spell them. Two, y'all pretty dumb. Like, I would love to just have a conversation with you and be like, wow, what education system you were in? Either you didn't pay attention or it's the lowest I've ever seen. But anyway, roast aside, actually having a conversation, it's dumb. Like, I want to say it like this.
Okay.
I can't pronounce the name, but it's Ayuden Chronicles
Yeah.
100 Heroes.
Yeah.
That game, however to pronounce it, like they have two, we'll say Asian, white. I'll say Asian because whatever. We'll say we have two Asian there, then we have somebody black there, and they just like, oh my god, it's the DEI. I'm like, that's a black character. You're telling me that we can have dragons, gargoyles, werewolves, monsters, but the moment there's a black person, you're like, oh my god, this game's what fam, what? Like, come on. But it's a bunch of nonsense. That's in summary. It's like my opinion when it comes to that, and maybe I'm tangenting, whatever it may be. It's
Oh,
just like,
please.
fam, the more diversity you have, the better. The more diversity you have in the game, the more cultures, the more different aspects, makes it more fun. I don't want a game of all white men. It's like, okay, like, oh my god, what? I'm not roasted, but like I just wouldn't want a game of just like all these same type of stature of men. Like, let's have black people, let's put some black culture, let's have Asian, let's put some Asian culture in.
Hmm.
We could put in white people, we could put in Indonesian, you know what I mean? Whatever it may be. Like, I feel like the more diverse something is, the more entertaining it can be.
Right.
And these people need to stop complaining just because you see, I mean, it's a target against black people 99% of the time.
Hmm.
But you get my point. It's just nonsense.
Yeah.
It's just nonsense.
I agree. I agree.
I can talk on that one all day too, but
Oh
it's just
man,
people
like
are just
like
I
I've really just been getting tired of it on Twitter.
it's so it's so bad. It's so
it's
bad.
so goddamn terrible. And like you said, the minute they see anything,
Anytime.
and the funny thing is people don't remember, like, Iden Chronicles is like, we're talking about some of the original Suikoden devs, and it's a callback to Suikoden itself. And people don't
Yep,
know Suikoden actually had black characters, or
they
characters of
did. I played
pigment,
them
of
before.
characters of melanin. Let's just say
Yeah, because
that.
they go to different areas.
Yeah,
Like
right,
maybe let's go to an island.
right,
Maybe let's go to a dragon only area.
right.
Like, I mean, it's just wild to me. People are just wild to me. I'm like, you can have cat people, gargoyles, dragons. Oh, that's fine. Oh, black person.
Hmm.
I don't know. You're taking me out my immersion. Oh my god. Like, shut up. Like, go. It's dumb. It's dumb.
And like, I started to see that even before DEI. Started to see that more within like the anime community, and I'm like,
Yeah, it's
bruh.
always been bad. Like, I mean, what sucks to say, and just in general, I mean, it's society, and however deep we go on it.
Mm,
Like, anytime we have a black person in space, let's be honest, we do get a lot of pushback for it. Like, even
mm,
in voice acting, as more black people are starting to voice characters that are of Asian descent, they don't complain when it's a white person voicing an Asian
right,
or a white person voicing a black person. But we have a black person, oh, he gotta get pushed back. I don't know, or saying that right now it's really really been a push, or there's really been a push for representation when it comes to voice acting. Like, if it's a
right.
black character, like if there's a black character that's going to be casted, let's try to get a person of color to audition for it. You know what I mean? They could be
Exactly.
like, oh well, that's racist. It's like, fam, like if you look at the 100 voices in this game, let's count how many are black. It's usually not many.
Hmm.
Like, more of us are starting to get in the industry, especially with anime, which is great. because they're talented, but it's like, hey, one, they're talented, they deserve to be in the space. Two, how many black characters do you really see on screen when it comes to animation? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Even in a lot of games we play, we're just not represented. And yes, the game devs can add more, which there some of them and a lot of them are doing, but anytime we go into space, it just we are used to the pushback. It ain't right, but well, that's a topic. But you know what I
Yeah,
mean. You
yeah,
know what I
yeah,
mean.
yeah. And
It's my favorite phrase today. It's getting better, but
it's
there's a
getting
lot of work to
better.
be done.
It's
It's
getting
getting
better.
better, but there's a lot of work
Yep.
to be done. And the vocal minority of Twitter saying the DEI stuff, they ain't making it easier, but they ain't smart no way. They got
No,
other issues. They're
no.
probably complaining about like they're like water can't get wet. That's the DEI nonsense. You know what I mean? But let me stop. You get where I'm
Yeah,
going.
yeah. I get it, and like again, it's just been something I've thought about so long, being on the platform, being part of the game space, um you know when I was, when I'm starting out, you know there was the thought, like there was the question, are you a what was it, are you a black streamer, or are you just a streamer who is black?
Oh, I talk about that too, but
Please, please,
uh,
please, because I want to hear your thoughts.
okay,
I want to hear
so
your
it's
thoughts because I got
funny.
this so much
I
early
did not like
days.
that. I don't like it, but I'm gonna say, yeah, it used to be that way.
Yeah,
But so funny we started this conversation where you mentioned I went to Morehouse.
yeah,
Morehouse, even though it's not reflective of the real world being majority black, I mean the school's probably 90% black there. Um, it's just the internet people don't understand, or at least I'm not saying the some people just don't understand. There are so many different facets of being black. It's like they have in their mindset, like, this is what black is. It's like, fam, no.
no,
Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's black people like wrestling, like about one of my best friends. He loves wrestling. I don't know the first thing. You might be like, well, that's not black of him. Like, what's black is my skin color.
exactly.
Yes, we have a lot of culture. Yes, we have cultural things. Each culture has culture. We have a lot, trend setting. But off that topic, it's like being black, you can be black that loves this, black that loves that. It's like there aren't black streamers. We're streamers that are black. We do a lot of times put our own culture, whether more or less in it, but regardless of that, you know what I mean? There's no different. A black streamer is somebody that streams that's black. A streamer is someone who streams. You know what I mean? And that's where that conversation ends. And like, you know, what I mean, you could be. It's fun. It's funny. Okay, I know I keep going to voice acting, but it's just a common words.
Go
It's a
ahead, go
common
ahead, go ahead.
conversation. They're like, can you do this in a black accent or black urban? I'm like, somebody from black from New Orleans, somebody black from Georgia, and somebody black from California all sound different. You know
Different.
what I mean?
Yeah,
So like,
yeah,
what are you looking for?
right.
So a lot of times there's been push. If you ever hear, hey, sound black or sound more urban, that's the more proper term to use. You got to say which one. Because if I
Hmm.
put somebody born and raised from Detroit, born and raised from Atlanta, Georgia, and born and raised from, we'll say, Kentucky, and they're all black in a room, they sound completely different. You know what I
Exactly,
mean? And
exactly.
even just off accents, you're me and you, even though we love Final Fantasy 14, we got a bunch of different interests,
Yep,
and we're still just as black as a person that only streams stereotypically, whatever, 2K. You know what I mean? Like we're still
right.
all black streamers. So that's all. I mean, that's where that conversation goes. It's just like, hey, you know,
Man, one of my good friends, another one of my good friends, I feel like she said it best. Mira, ex Mira,
oh yeah, that's the
yeah,
homie.
the
She's
homie,
great.
yeah, she said it herself. Black is not a monolith.
It really ain't.
It ain't. It really
Oh
isn't.
man. Hmm.
And it's like you said, like someone from No Cackalack will sound different from someone from Georgia, someone from New Orleans. What's up, baby? You want something? You want
Exactly.
something to eat,
Like someone
baby?
said to me, I'm like,
It's a
I
cultural
heard this
thing.
before, but
It's a
it's
cultural
true.
thing.
Yeah.
And I
Exactly.
remember I see this video so many times like on my YouTube shorts of Denzel. Like when he talks about like how like when the hot come hits your head, your hair.
Yep.
Yeah, and he's like, that's a cultural thing. And
Yeah.
it's like not a lot of people get the culture, get the the many facets of the culture, because again, we are not a monolith.
exactly. So it's just, people gonna be people.
Right.
I'm gonna chop it up. I say I chop it up to education.
Right.
Like the issue is with a lot of people is that thing like that. And like I've really thought about it. Sometimes I'm like, why? Let's be real. It just depends on your upbringing. Like, maybe there's a lot of stereotypical bias. Maybe you've never really been around a black person. You know
Right.
what I mean? I think one of the coolest things that Morehouse has done is there have been some, like I said, like Morehouse, even though it's majority black,
Mm-hmm.
there's other places. We've had Asian, we have white, we have there, and it's funny hearing their experiences. Not saying they come in there, they're racist. You're going to a black school, like
Right.
you're gonna get to know black people. But it's always funny to me after a year or two of them being there, and you ask them about their experience, like, hey, you're in a school that's like probably 90% black. You won't encounter that in America almost anywhere in most cases. You know what I mean? And they're like, wow, like, I've seen so many different facets of the black struggle, the black culture, the black experience of black people. You got people that are nerds, you got people that want to skateboard, you got
Right.
people that sing, that thrive in sports. You just see like all the different facets, and ultimately it's like, hey, we're just people. We just have a lot of culture. And
Exactly.
it's trendy. You know what I mean? Like we
Exactly.
we do set a lot of culture spaces. So those people are ignorant. It's like it's sad that you're that way, but I can't help your ignorance or lack of education. And whether you get it one day, I hope you do. But if you don't, like that's an L for you, not an L for me,
Mm-hmm.
because I get it both within my culture and within others. Like I can respect and learn and listen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's just like you don't get it. If you do, great. But if you don't, like that's just not my battle to educate you or combat you because I'm not gonna get mad at you. I'm just gonna be like, all right, next
Yeah.
block. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
All right,
I don't
fam.
have the time with
All
for
right,
it.
all right, fam. You good?
Exactly. It's like, hey, this is about like block. I
No.
just I'd
No.
rather go play Final Fantasy. Like I don't have
Exactly.
time for it. you know, it's like I can't entertain it because ultimately for everybody, please know your piece is more important than any of these trolls on
Right.
Twitter or wherever else. Your
Please.
piece is more important.
Please. Like don't feed the trolls. Don't feed the trolls.
Exactly.
And you bring up a good point because like I go back to college. I go back to Central, and I go back to like all my HBCUs surrounding me, and you know you know we have our culture, and we have our schools, but you see so many like other people, like again, I see so many like white students at Central, like predominantly black school. Hell, saw a white boy pledge Kappa.
Like Kappa Alpha.
Yeah,
Okay. I'm
yeah,
okay. I'm gonna be honest. Okay, it's one of at first I'm like I didn't like it at first, but then again I'm like, you know what? If y'all accept it, y'all accept it.
yeah.
Like you know what I mean?
I mean,
I
and
don't mind it because
the girls were just screaming.
all the girls eat up. That
They
happened in
ate
my
it up.
school too.
They ate it up.
They did.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you one thing about that, even though it has happened, and it does happen, like I like it because I'm just like, hey, I guarantee you, let somebody say something bad about a black person around that person,
Mm,
they will chop into them.
yeah.
They're gonna be defending number one.
Yep. Yep.
So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. That's another whole topic of the college experience. Like, fuck.
yeah.
God. Like, I didn't pledge anything.
Mhm.
My dad is Omega, and he wanted me to pledge
My
so bad.
dad's a Sigma.
Yeah, he wanted me to pledge so
He
bad.
Mine was the opposite. My dad did not want me to because my dad comes from like I said, very, very religious background.
Uh,
I don't want you to pledge because you're gonna be drinking, you're gonna be sinning, you're gonna do all that stuff. I'm like, fam, I'll have some wine in probably an hour. So anyway,
and my dad was the exact
uh,
opposite. He took me to all the Q barbecues, everything.
man.
Homecoming, he took me to the Q tent that had like all the liquor and everything. Like I had the
Yeah.
inside treatment. He really was pushing it. Like when I was in
Mhm.
college, he was really pushing it. I'm like,
Like, no, I almost pledged once, but then not shading anybody. And
Mhm.
like I always disclaim if I ever do this, I'm not shading anybody that joins sorority or fraternity.
Right.
But when I almost joined, I was like, I feel that this isn't giving me what I want.
Right.
And I almost pledged when I was in grad school, and I didn't have at that time in grad school, if you don't really have a community, it's just rough. Let's be
Yes.
honest. Like you need to support a community of friends. You need to have that just grad school is hard. PhDs are, I'm not gonna say tougher, but they can be tougher. But you need to have a way to wind down, find community, friends, go out and about. And around grad school, I'm gonna be honest, I had that the first 2 years of grad school, but then they graduated. They were going for master's programs, and I was going for a PhD. So where I found my community was Twitch, and where I was looking for community, like, oh, let me just join a fraternity, get that community, be more engaging. But it's like it wasn't the right way for me. Not, you know what I mean? I feel like a lot of people find that, but for me, I was like, ironically, I found my community through streaming on Twitch. That's when I started to interacting with people. Because in grad school, I was like, fam, all I do is just kind of come home and I'll just be chilling. So, it works for some. For me, no, it wouldn't have been a good fit.
Yeah.
They'll be like, come outside and do this. No,
No.
I'm gonna stay home and play games.
My homies in college were the ones we went to with student union. They had the TVs and everything. They had the Xboxes set up. We took up
Yeah,
all the Xboxes and played Halo. Like that, those were the homies back in college. Like, yeah, that was my tribe. Um,
yeah.
for you, um, again, the DataDave, the
Mhm.
successful DataDave, the Twitch ambassador DataDave. For someone,
I be trying.
he's there. He made it. You made it.
Yeah.
For someone stepping into content creation, stepping into Twitch for the first time, um, what would your advice be for them?
Honestly, for someone going into streaming for the first time in any content creation, I'll give a few tips if it's all right. This is what
No,
pops on my head.
go ahead, as many as you want.
I'll just you the first one, I'm just gonna say, and this is something that I feel a lot of us as creators have to keep reminding ourselves, especially if we've been in space, have fun. Like my number one thing is, do you like doing it? Because that I enjoy this will carry you through your entire career. Because I'm gonna be honest, like it can get tough as a streamer saying, I need to growth, I need this, I need that. But that's cute, but it's like, hey, are you having fun? Like, put that at first and foremost, because I think that both in streaming and voice acting, where I thrive is I'm enjoying myself. But let's say I don't know, let's say I'm just okay, I'm only making videos and I didn't have fun making videos. It's gonna be that much harder to make another video. You know what I mean? Just as an example. So it's number one, like, is it fun? Because some people, I'm gonna be honest, uh, hot take and content creation. I feel most people will love some form of content creation. You just got to figure out what do you love doing. Now, there are going to be some areas you don't care for doing, let's be honest, but to grow your brand, but what do you like doing? Like you're like, "Hey, I don't like being on camera. I don't like being live." Okay, why don't you try to make some YouTube videos, make some TikToks? You know what I mean? Or like, "Ugh, I don't like the TikTok sounds of doing trends." Okay, why don't you try live streaming? Maybe you like talking to people live. That fun will carry you through it. Some people, you don't need to be live streamers on Twitch. You can start on Twitch, but maybe videos are your thing. But find out what your thing is and carry that and pick up other skills along the way.
Right.
If that's a long-winded answer, but I say that's the number one for me,
Mhm.
honestly. That's number one. So yeah, that's what comes to my mind, honestly. You know what I mean? Like for me, I love live streaming. I love talking. I can talk all day.
Right.
Ironically, where else do I talk? Being a professor, being a voice actor. I'm talking. You know what I
Right.
mean? And that thrives. So, that's what works. So hopefully I answered the question. That's what comes
No,
to my mind.
no, you did, and you gave one, one of the like, more, you know, I wouldn't say common, but just like a lot of people say that, like, have fun with it. And I feel like we saying me in particular kind of forget that because it like you said, it becomes and we both experience it, it becomes a job, and it becomes,
Yeah.
it becomes more than us. It becomes like we have to think about our communities, we have to think about our brand, we have to think about
Yeah.
income, because like this is a source of income, and
Yep.
things like that. And sometimes we forget, that like we started
Yeah.
somewhere and this was just like fun. It was fun.
And arguably, that's where I would like to think a lot of the growth came from. And
Mhm.
even if I could just add on just one more point
Oh,
that popped into my head,
please.
I know I just want people like as I think. Another thing I'll say into having that fun and creating content. I mentioned this as one of my personality trait. Like, be willing to learn something. Like, you know what I mean? Like, okay, I love being live. learn a bit about video editing. You never know. What's your style? Like, just if you stay in the constant mindset of learning, not saying you got to study every day, you know what I mean? But just like picking up a new trick or new editing style or new whatever it may be, you just don't know what it leads to. So another thing, I don't know if people heard from or know I did this. Like I've actually had the pleasure of hosting for Twitch a couple times, right? But you might say, where did that start? They sent out an email to a lot of streamers. I don't know how many years back, saying, "Is anybody interested in hosting? Come to a hosting workshop." I went to it and I took notes because I'm like, what's funny? I used to say like I don't see myself as a host, like like Technique or Story Mode Bay. Like they get up there and they get on stage, Chelsea Bites, and they do it. And me, I'm like, ooh, in front of people. But my willingness to say, hey, I'll at least take a class, I'll at least participate and just kind of learn. Now I can say, hey, I've hosted for like twitch.tv/Twitch. What was it? I think recently it was the Pokemon Day, ironically. I've done Game Changers last year. It's like I've done more things and going more in the space, but it took I don't do this, but let me see if I can or learn about it. You know what I mean? So just be willing to learn because you don't know where that skill set or that class can take you to. I mean, that's literally voice acting for me. I was like, I don't know a single thing about it, but I'll take some coaching. Now I love it. So just adding that on there.
Hmm.
I
And
could talk all day.
yeah, I know. I know.
I could talk all day.
It's what we do. It pays the bills.
Mhm.
And for someone who wanted to get into the voice acting space,
Mhm.
what would be your advice?
Shoot, I'll send you some resources, but honestly, with voice acting, take a class. Now, not every class is super expensive. Like that's some I've seen for like 50 bucks or 80 bucks, but it's like looking to learning, okay, an intro class. What is voice acting? Where can I audition? Like a lot of those times when I'm giving resource to people, and not that it's anything bad, it's a lot of okay, like here's a website. I want to be a voice actor.com by D. Bradley Baker. That's a phenomenal resource for it. But honestly, start auditioning. Like you even done radio, let's say you wanted to start yourself. There's plenty of auditions you can find right now on Twitter and different websites to start auditioning. If you liking it, this is fun. Okay, how do I get better? Let me take a beginner's class.
Mhm.
Let me maybe consider getting some coaching. You never know. You might be natural. I've seen some people, they just dive into it and they blow up instantly. But it's just about looking at those resources, going through them, and then just trying and doing it, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd say that'd be the best way. But the first resource, let me look this up because I don't want to tell you. Yep, it's literally I want to be a voice actor.com. D. Bradley Baker.
So
Let me see what they've
simple.
done. It's literally that website. That website will tell you what you need, what kind of gear, how do I even find auditions, what's an agent. It breaks it all. And D. Bradley Baker, he's been at everything. Oh, apparently he was the bougie Squidward. I forgot his name. Bougie Squidward. He's in Fairly Odd Parents, Kids Next Door. All like I'm just scrolling just on
Wow.
just Google right now. I think there was an instant where he was Daffy Duck, but his website literally goes from starting from zero to how do you get in the industry professionally.
Yeah.
So yeah. And then anybody listening, even yourself included, if y'all interested, like hit me up. I will send you the site. I'll send you some resources. Cause like I definitely want more people in the industry, but I'm definitely biased because there's needs to be more POC in the industry because we are
Hmm.
underrepresented. Just like on streaming, we're underrepresented when it comes to these tournaments, these spaces, and in voiceover and most places. So if there's any way I could be a resource to push it forward for you, it helps because I've had people be a resource and help push it forward to me and then I'll put it at Matt. So, I'm just, let's get there,
Yeah.
if you're interested.
And last but not least, uh, but
Mhm,
before we chat, um,
mhm,
any bit of just general life advice for the fam, just anything,
mm. Life.
any nuggets of wisdom from the homie DataDave.
Um, I can give you, if y'all don't mind, I'm always long-winded.
No, go
I can
ahead.
give you a quick story
Mhm.
and a piece of advice all in one. I guess the life nuggets, if as long as you're trying, you're doing better than you think. And that's even though it's a cliche phrase, like long as you're trying and doing your best, that's good enough. My parents instilled in me, not gonna be too long with it. My parents instilled in me. in school, like I used to really stress over grades, like, oh, I got a C, I didn't get an A, I'm all sad and stuff. My parents asked me this question every time I didn't do the great in school. They said, "Did you do your best?" If my answers was yes, they didn't stress it. It gets wild to say, like, did you fail the test? I did fail the test. Did you do your best? Did you study? I was like, I tried hard. I just didn't understand it. We're not going to stress you. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, generally was a good student or whatever, but it was the every time when the question came, did you do your best? If the answer was yes, that's fine. And I feel that that's with everything. And if you didn't do your best, try to do better next time. I will say that by trying to do your best, you're doing much better than what you're thinking. Now, my life example is recently voice acting. I was like, I'm taking all these classes. I rarely book. Sometimes I book stuff, I haven't made like I'm in Hong Kong, yes, but like I'm not a character. I'm like, dang, like are my auditions bad? Like I'm always studying, I'm always trying to learn. Are my commercial auditions bad? And like, that comes in our mindset sometime when we're trying, especially in the industry, and we're not getting the biggest roles we have. But as I look back, I'm like, did I try my best on auditions? Honestly, yes. And then bringing it to the experience, I know, long way to be getting there. I took a class with someone named Tina. She actually does casting for commercials, like professional commercials, right?
Mm.
I took a class with her because I met her through a conference at VO Atlanta. And what she did in that session? She says, "Cool, I'm pulling up every single audition you did for us. And in our coaching session, we're gonna go through them and we're gonna talk about it." And I'm like, cool, this is exactly what I want because I'm obviously bad at these commercials. Like I'm not booking them. So we went through the first commercial. I think it was like for Bob Evans or something like that. And when she played it, and I heard it back, I was like, okay, like is she gonna tell me it's bad? What I gotta do? She was like, oh, I submitted you for this one. So here's how it works in voiceover. Let's say 500 people audition for something, right? It goes to a casting director. The casting director goes to each audition and notes the ones that they're actually going to submit to the client. So realistically, they're only going to submit 40 to 50 people out of this 500. So that means like I submitted you for that. She was like, oh, you were top 10%. You went to the client. Just the client picked somebody else. So I was like, oh, I did good. We went to the next audition. Oh, I submitted you for this too. We went through like 4 or 5 of these where she was like, this was great. Here's where you could do a little bit better and here's some tips that can help you out. But you were submitted. And then in my mindset, I'm like, wow, I've been sitting here saying, oh, maybe I'm not the greatest actor. I didn't book it, but I'm actually been submitted at least in those times to it. So it's like, how many times have I almost been in the room? I'll never know. But what I could take from this is I did my best in those auditions, even though I didn't book. That says a lot like, hey, you're good. You see what I mean? So full circle, if you're doing your best at something, that's great enough. Still learn, still improve, but that goes a lot because a lot of cases that's not what other people are doing. So yeah, so like just hearing like you've been submitted, I'm like, oh, maybe I'm not a bad actor. But I feel like a lot of cases, a lot of us will downplay our skill, ability, performance, all of that. You know what I mean? But in reality, did you do your best? I guarantee you, you're doing way better than you think because you tried. But anyway, you never know. So that's all. That's all. Long winded, but I think a lot of us got to remember that. Like, did you try? Like, oh, I didn't get a lot of views on my YouTube video. It's like, did you try your best? Yes, you're doing good. Keep going. So that's my little tidbit nugget. And yeah, I'll be a motivational speaker all day on my speaker box. I'm sorry, Sly. I will do that all day. I'll do that all day. It's how I keep myself afloat and keep going as well. But that's how I've been thriving in the industry.
You have like again, you have to be sometimes you have to be your own cheerleader. And I
Exactly.
think you reminded me of that, and I think you reminded a lot of people of that today. So
Hey, well, thanks for having me,
again,
man.
thank you so much for your wisdom, your story, just everything. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. DataDave.
Yeah.
And we are good, and that is